what I hope for 2026 is that we all kind of just keep rolling, heads down, do the things that we know to do, be gracious in the positives, take the lessons that come in the negative. I want to be an equal contributor to the overall industry itself so that great people are introduced to an amazing industry that I am 1000% grateful for stumbling into, because it is giving me a wonderful life.
Hello, everyone, and thanks for tuning in to the latest edition of FranCoach's Franchising 101 podcast. I'm Tim Parmeter, founder and CEO of FranCoach and your podcast host. We are going to have a guest joining us today, the guest with the mostest episodes ever on the Franchising 101 podcast, franchise expert, guru, also co-host of the Franchising 360 show. She's done a little bit of everything in the industry, and we're going to talk a little bit about a key word rolling into 2026, or as we're into 2026. So that's coming up in a minute. First, a quick reminder of who we are here at FranCoach. FranCoach is the premier franchise consulting firm. Our number one goal is to properly educate you on franchise ownership to determine if you should own one. And if so, we're going to help you find your absolute best fit. Our educational approach ensures we focus on the client's best interest. We are not here to sell you a franchise. In fact, we don't sell anything. Finding the best franchise to own is an incredibly personalized and individualized process that can only work with a team of experts focused on what is truly most important. That's you. FranCoach, our services are always 100% free to use, so reach out to our team. Click the QR code or find us at francoach.net. Now, let's get back to the show. All right, folks, we are back on the Franchising 101 podcast, and joining us is our person with the most guest appearances on the Franchising 101 podcast, the one, the only, Miss Danielle Wright. Danielle, how are you today?
Great day, Tim. It's a great day.
Love that excitement. Thanks for bringing that energy here. And we, I'm sure we've done this. I'm pretty sure we've done this since, but I know we've done this kind of the last couple years, right around the turn of that good old calendar into the new year, and talked about some things from a franchise standpoint, you know, what we're seeing, trends, all of those things, but also, you know, some kind of a word or two to kind of kick us off into the new year. And you had one last year that I loved, awareness, or maybe just aware, maybe it had the nest in it, but, take us back. What kind of prompted that for you to really kind of have that be your word to kind of guide you through 2025?
Something just happened, I'm sure, like anything in my existence. Something occurs and then a word defines it, and you're like, it shows up for you in different places. So last year, awareness came as a place for us to, how can you be more aware of you, your surroundings, other people, how there's an absence of awareness in society in general. So how do you wrap your head around being more aware? Because when you're paying attention to things, awareness, there gives you an element of control of what's going on. So I think for FranCoach and myself and others, we all we don't want to use the word control. It seems so negative. You're controlling, but it just all beckons back to the same things that you talk about. So aware was a good word, and it showed up in a lot of situational things, and even more so as we talk to guests or people that have listened to the podcast. Being aware of what you want out of your life is important. So I just was aware of what kind of work do I want to do, what kind of person do I want to be, and then making sure that was brought up and discussed and used regularly. So now instead of doing hey, let's do a resolution, because I'm not a big fan of that, and goals are great, but goals are typically like SMART goals. So there's some type of metric tied to it where I've just kind of transitioned to picking a word of the year and using that word to kind of just set the pace for what I want to accomplish and each year, right? Because your goals may change and things may, hey, I want to lose 20 pounds. Well, guess what? That's a little bit harder than what people think. And so instead of doing that, it's like, here's my word of the year and watch it, how it applies in my life. And then it actually gives you a really great memory or trigger for things in the past.
Yeah. So throughout the year, I know it came up in a lot of our conversations, whether it's professional or personal. I think probably anytime either of us have been at an airport over the last year, there's like, ooh, do we have any level of awareness? You're in group 9, like gate lice, go away, right? But from a professional standpoint, is there anything you can think of over the last year that having that word kind of at the forefront of your mind helped you with something from a professional standpoint?
Yeah, it's just, so we have a lot of conversations with people. So being aware of where I'm injecting myself into their story, being aware of what their story is, right? So from a professional perspective, there's that conversation that you're having with others. Like, be aware that you're in it, and you're in it for them. It's not always about you. Also being aware of what it is I want to do at a career inflection. I think a lot of people hear us talk about these things and don't realize that we are going through the same stuff they're going through, right? Like the midlife, and I always say midlife, but maybe mid-career, or like you feel like there should be something else going on. And so just be aware that you're having those feelings, write the things down. Maybe it's aware that I want to make a change, or maybe it's aware that I really don't, that I need to do some other things. Like it showed up in a lot of different places. Yes, the funny of, hey, the airport, gate lice, and aware that I probably love on my dog a little too much, which causes him anxieties, right? So there are those awareness pieces, but it ties, again, back to the point, the word ties to a lot of inflections in your life that you are then required, or you should be then requiring yourself to take an assessment per se. Like, why am I having this feeling? Why does it make sense right now? What am I doing wrong that I can do something different? Or maybe my emotions aren't wrong, they're right, but I just need to be aware of it in the moment, because you can't affect change if you're not willing to be aware of what's causing you the anxieties or the position you're in.
New Year, same extra value meals at McDonald's. So now get 2 snack wraps plus fries and a medium soft drink for just $8.
For limited time only. Prices and participation may vary. Prices may be higher in Hawaii, Alaska, and California, and for delivery.
Yeah, and our whole team at FranCoach, like basically everybody's an entrepreneur here, at least one way, if not multiple ways with this. And you would ask our kind of weekly check-in call we have with our team. You would ask everybody, like, hey, what's your one thing for this year? It was interesting to me. And again, I don't know, maybe you gave everybody an hour of prep time that they were gonna get that question. So, but how they maybe didn't say it, but it was something that they were aware of what was missing or what they would like to be a little bit better in their life. Some were personal, some were professional. A couple had a combo there, but it was all kind of making them really self-aware of that. And it was kind of cool to hear everybody's answers, but it really had that all kind of tied back into, they had some awareness of, even as entrepreneurs, how can they still get something better out of this experience?
Well, and I think, right, my awareness is we always blanket statement, think in the entrepreneur brain, because it's just where we are, right? Like, we forget that there was a time when we were equally employees working a W-2 job. And when you think about goals and inflection, that's tied to your annual review, and you're doing that with a boss. And when you're an entrepreneur, you got to kind of hold yourself accountable. But how do you grow, right? Not outside of the things that are coming at you from a business perspective. I've got to solve these problems and all of these things. But how do I grow personally and professionally when there's no one else holding me accountable, right? For any other deliverable outside of just, hey, good for you. I think that for our team, it's reminding ourselves, one, that you are part of a team of people that are here to help you take yourself to the next level, but I'm not going to push you. It's that push and pull that we talk about, right? Like if you have them vocalize it, then it's real. And then you did mention that our follow-up question was, how can the team help you do that? Like what's missing? And I feel for myself is over the handful of years I've been in a leadership position as such, that the best thing that I can do as a leader is open up the door for them to vocalize where they want to be and then help them to utilize the resources at hand. And we're not just talking about the technical pieces or any of those things. Like you have people in your corner that their visions may not be the same as yours, but guess what? We can support you in some form or fashion. Even if it's just you need a big pat on the back in the morning to like get you motivated for the day, then you have 9 other people on this team that are all independent of themselves, doing their own things, but are willing to rise up and be leaders in their own right by doing that. So yeah, they had a short window of time. What's funny about any of us in franchising is that, is there ever really one thing? And I feel like the challenge was more, it wasn't one, it was one and you do fine with the and I'm like, just stop at the one. Like there is no and, like it's just the one. It's okay to focus on the one.
And probably half of them tried to slip in a second one, right? Which is fine,
or that what. And so like it just, there was so many added layers to it that, yeah, there's going to be the one and then the sub A and then the sub A1. Like there's always going to be more, but the more you put in it, the harder it is for people to help you. Like be crystal clear on what those things are.
And I think as much as you and I have talked and then kind of had that word pop up, sometimes intentionally, sometimes unintentionally over the course of 2025, I think even today and kind of having that conversation with our team was like, kind of like aware of like, oh, where all of that is played out with everybody else. And then how do we kind of implement things which triggered, you know, kind of what like I put down kind of a little bit as my word and then a little bit of yours for 2026. So talk a little bit, what's the big word we put up for this year for you?
So you and I went back and forth about this, and I used some technology to take some of, because again, like, don't be afraid of it. Let it work for you and with you, and don't make it be your brain. But the things that I was wanting to be better at, right? Like we play golf. I'd like to be better at golf. I work out, but I'd like to be better about, like, I feel a place of, I'm here, but where can I take it one step further? Not go extreme, because extreme never sustains. And so you were like, well, I thought your word was this. And yes, it played into it, but what was a better word that I could see myself being held accountable, right? Like at the end of the day, it's an accountability factor for others to hold me accountable, for me to hold myself accountable. And the word for me this year was really like consistency. Or consistent, right? Just take the word consistent. Again, I'm not going to make it bigger than what it is consistent. And it can apply to a lot of the outcomes I want. Like people have vision boards and all of those things. I call it a commitment board. Like, what is my commitment to myself in 2026? And my commitment to myself is being consistent. No matter what the piece is. Like, I would like to read more. Okay. If I have a hard time reading, which I do, I'm not the best. I'm good with little articles and things. I am not a book reader. Give me 20 pages in and I'm done. Like I get bored. And so consistency is number of pages on a specific number of days, and just until you get that one thing done. And so stay consistent. And I see consistency showing up for a lot of things for me from a work perspective. Be consistent and thoughtful at what you're doing, be consistent and thoughtful, like so forth, so on. So consistent, like just be consistent is the kind of the mantra. And it's like literally a thing on my screen. I print something out so I see it. So the moment that I think I want to go rogue and chase a bunch of squirrels, like that leads to confusion, and confusion leads to disaster. And I don't have time for confusion and disaster. So I need to be consistent, because consistent long-term, like what did I tell you? Consistent over impressive. And that's like show up consistently without chasing perfection. And that's the slogan. It's like, if I do that, all the things that I've set out for myself will stay in place and become part of my life if I stay consistent. So that's the word.
It's not going to win any, oh my gosh, that's the sexiest word of the year, right? But
neither was aware.
Right.
Aware seems very, you say common sense. If sense was common, then everybody would have it, right? So it's aware is the same thing. Consistent is the same thing, but it means something to me.
One, I think they play off of each other, because if you lack the awareness, you're probably not going to realize you need to be more consistent. And if you want, like, again, it's like the New Year's, like, oh, I'm going to get in shape. I'm going to, like, all these like things that don't last because they weren't able to be consistent. And I don't remember the guy's name now, but the guy who wrote the book Atomic Habits, we saw speak at a conference last year. And it was all about just like, how do you get 1% better every day? And was telling the story about the guy who was very, very overweight, but his thing was he was going to get in shape. And he literally started by just going to the gym, like getting up, getting dressed, driving to the gym every day. And then like he did that for a couple of days. They didn't even go in, right? Like it was just to start building the habit of getting a little bit and being consistent with the habit. Right. And so I think that's for people that listen that are like, hey, probably have jobs that they just, went back to work this week. How many things did you see on Instagram, probably, starting on Sunday this week before everybody's fully back at it? It was like, something about like, oh, the time off, and now you're dreading going back to work. Right. Yep. And if that helped create the awareness at the end of 25 that maybe that's not great, how do you create a better kind of consistency, and what do you want that to look like moving forward? And you don't magically go to the gym and lose 20 pounds, right? You don't magically, I'm going to save enough money to buy a house and magically poof, it's there. It takes that consistency over time to be able to get the old thing. In another book that I can't remember where I read it years ago, but it was the phrase, it's like, it's gradual.
Yeah, I want to be a better reader, but I at least hopefully remember stuff. Like you read all the time and yet can't.
I think that was one of the few things I actually read in my master's degree that I actually paid attention to. I usually just kind of skim through everything. And then, but that one always stuck with me because you're like, wait, what? Gradual, but all of a sudden, oh yeah. So, but again, you can't have that without having that consistency perspective. How do you for you, what's maybe one area that professionally you think being more aware of being consistent is going to impact kind of your existence?
Well, I think being more consistent on like my calendar, like making sure, because as an entrepreneur, we do put out fires all the time. There are dumpster fires everywhere you sit. It's just you attack the fire that's the biggest, and you let the other ones just smolder for a little while until they decide to. So I think for me, being consistent in my communication, right? Like making sure that I am overly communicating if need be, but be consistent in what I say and what I do. I think that's just something from an entrepreneurial perspective. I think we're running in so many directions that we tend to say one thing one day and say something different another. And because I work with you, I'll say you're notorious for doing that. And so I think on the consistency scale, I don't want to be
consistent. I'm consistent.
Yeah, you're consistent about waffling is what the good old term was. So I just think ultimately, for me personally, my personal life is at a high value at this stage of my growth that I want to be able to spend the time with my family. I want to be able to spend the time focused on my general health for long-term sustainability, right? So being consistent in my personal life with the commitments I've made to myself will also reflect by being consistent with the commitments I make to work. And I think that all trickles down to calendar and time management. And for me, if I'm consistent with my calendar and time management, and if I'm diligently putting myself to those commitments that I have, then I think all of those things work together in that capacity. So I think that's one of the pieces that I will focus more on is time designated to Danielle for personal, time designated for Danielle for professional, and being consistent with that will render positive results in other capacities.
What if your 9-to-5 job didn't last forever? What if there was a better way to create professional success your way without fear of layoffs or downsizing? What if I told you that it's all possible through franchise ownership? Franchise ownership gives you a proven playbook to execute so you can be in business for yourself, but not by yourself. But with thousands of franchises out there, how do you know which is the best one for you? That's where FranCoach comes in. FranCoach will help build out your ideal business model based on your talents, skills, and core values. Then use our proprietary knowledge of the franchises to bring curated options based on what you want, and then guide you through the vetting process until we find your best match. Individualized, personalized, and 100% free to you. Ready to control your future? Scan the QR code or visit francoach.net and let FranCoach help create your better tomorrow.
Yeah, no, I like it. And you and I didn't have any sort of like discussion about like, hey, what's your word going to be in mine, and comparing notes. It just kind of like, I think kind of organically happened. And
I think you need more of this on the franchising 101, because franchising is not just about, hey, I own a business, I operate it, and how great I can be at it, or all of these things. It's really who you are as a person being reflected in a business that makes sense for you. And so if these are things that your listeners can take away and say, how can I apply that into my life to make a determination one way or another? Like, do I want to be these people, or do I really like my job? And that's okay too. Like, those are all okay things.
And it's funny you said that, because literally, one of the notes I wrote down to make sure I ask you a question was, so tell us how others can apply this to themselves. So once again, us sharing a brain, I think, but it is when you are a business owner, whether it's an entrepreneur, you're a franchise owner in particular, like we can sit here and talk all day long about, you're going to have the training and the support and the community, and all of those things are true, but ain't none of those jokers waking you up in the morning, right? There's none of them calling you at 8:05 going, hey, Danielle, I noticed you haven't logged into like whatever internal communication thing that they have. You've got to have kind of that discipline and motivation and being consistent with it, right? Yeah. And it was funny because of like, and you kind of called me out on this of like, the word I had was probably a negative connotation for it, but it was lazy. And it really all happened before Christmas, going through.
Why do growing businesses love working in Slack? Let's ask Christy at RE Bikes.
Running things in Slack saves me so much time.
AI summaries save 97 minutes per week. What say you, Rox from Gosney?
Slack helps us build community, it helps us build connection.
Your partners, vendors and customers all in one place. Take us on home, Ashley from Caraway.
If we didn't have Slack tomorrow, I would explode.
Well, let's not let that happen. Visit slack.com/podcast to get 50% off Slack Business Plus.
Does it ever feel like you're a marketing professional just speaking into the void? But with LinkedIn ads, you can know you're reaching the right decision makers, a network of 130 million of them, in fact. You can even target buyers by job title, industry, company, seniority, skills, and did I say job title? See how you can avoid the void and reach the right buyers with LinkedIn ads. Spend $250 on your first campaign and get a free $250 credit for the next one. Get started at linkedin.com/campaign. Terms and conditions apply.
My 12-year-old's bedroom, with knowing what that fat bastard Santa was about to bring him, we're getting a little more space in the room. And we don't, there's still Santa Claus, Danielle, come on. And so we were going through his room, and I'm like, we've been in this house for almost 2 years, and I start seeing things that haven't moved in the entire time that we've been here. And as much as I would like to say it was all confined to 150 square feet in the back of the house, it went throughout all rooms where I just became,
and all of a sudden
became
and now all of a sudden it's everywhere.
Lazy, from a connotation of like, yeah, I know I should get to that, but I'd rather do this. And so I get the cafeteria mindset sometimes. So I'm going to pick and choose. I'm going to do this and this. Yeah, I don't care about that. And the difference it made even in his room as we cleaned it, we almost needed to go buy another box of trash bags from all of the stuff that for either trash or to be able to give away was crazy. And it was like, even he was like, oh, this is so much better. Like, yeah, dude, we got to stop being lazy with that. And then it was, and you had made the kind of comment of like, well, that's a negative spin on it. I'm like, yes, it is. And then you kind of busted out your version of it, kind of a little more positive space of just have the consistency of like, pick crap up, get rid of the clutter just everywhere will then
There's
clutter the
something
mind.
to be said for taking negative words and turning them into positive, because I think even when we're talking about a lot of stuff that we're doing, they're like, use the contrarian, right? And people really click on these are the 10 franchises you should not buy, right? And I get it, right? There's a thing in our brain because we just live in that, not a glass half full or half empty, but it's just a glass with some fluid in it, right? Because we're just living, waiting for it to go down or go up at any one juncture. But if you lead with something that is more positive or neutral, you're now also teaching yourself to like try to find the positive somewhere else and not reach your get out of it. It pushes you the next day when you don't really feel like being pushed. We all can definitely choose the negative piece, and you can say lazy. I can say motivated, right? Change the word from lazy to motivated. How can I be more motivated? How can I be more motivated to do this or to do that? Like, lazy is just the feeling you're having in the moment when you're dealing with that stress and anxiety and the thoughts of having to handle it. Like, I would just rather be lazy. You'd just rather do something else. I don't know that it's lazy.
It's the picking and choosing of what instead of not. And I think back to that kind of calendar management piece, which as an entrepreneur is so incredibly important, right? Because again, you don't have people managing
telling you where you have to be and when you have to do it and all of those things. Yep.
Right. And to be able to set aside, and it's a little cliche, but is to, okay, what are the couple things that I'm kind of like dreading doing and literally knocking it out right off the bat. I'd read something that it was like a 4 or 5 star general years ago, and he'd made the comment of, I was the notorious, why would I make my bed when I'm just going to sleep in it again at night? And so maybe I'd like kind of straighten it out. And as you know, sometimes I can be a messy sleeper. And so like I was like, I just never ever did it. And the general made the comment of, he goes, we're all notorious in the military for making our bed, but he goes, for me, it was like, I've accomplished one thing, like literally right off the bat. Like I've already got a small win in the day. And I'm like, oh, okay, that makes sense. So what are a couple of those small tasks that I can just knock out right off the bat and at least I've got some wins on the table. Now I also have an email that I started about 7 hours ago now that's still kind of sitting there because there've been so many things that have popped up today. But before I had started that email, I had been able to kind of have that discipline of like, now we're pretty new into the year, right? So like, can I keep that consistency up? Can I not be lazy and have that? I guess time will tell. But I again, those are things. And I'm like you, like I was never a great goal setter. It was like, just, from back in my former life of being an athlete, it was like, we're going to win. We're going to win every time, right? Like there wasn't anything like tangible other than just
an improvement plan, right? When you think about an improvement plan, what is an improvement plan? I'm saying a goal to be better at something. So here it is. Like,
and as an entrepreneur, like, again, we don't have the boss, like you and I've been employees in the past and I've been on both sides of the performance improvement plan where I've had to give them and I've had to receive them. And it's just dread on both sides, right? And so now as an entrepreneur, you don't have anybody to do that for you. So guess what? You have to be able to kind of do that yourself. And
not everything is tied to monetary, right? So I think when the franchisor is talking to you, it's like helping you set a monetary goal. And that's great. Like people do want to make more money. But for those that are good with where they are, like we talk about the average, if you're at the average and you're content and attending your kids' soccer games and you're showing up for cheerleading and dance practice, like you're doing all the things you want to be doing. What's next? Because you're always looking for what's next, because status quo is great for a period of time, but you always want to challenge yourself a little. And this gives you the opportunity to set something that can be a challenge for a lot of people. And so it's like, but not every goal has to be monetary.
Well, even with our team, when we did that, there was only one person that really had a specific goal or kind of one thing that was tied to a number, right? Correct. There were some from their process.
People that had three people that had numbers tied to their goal.
But one of them was the end. The other were just like, how do I do my job better to have more? One had the end result, which for us is money, right? And so, which is fine, right? But it was interesting and maybe it would have been different if that person gone first, but I don't think so. I think it all would have stayed the same thing of just where in my existence can I get a little bit better with that. And one of them was really was like, you almost kind of apologized. It was all personal of just being able to spend more time with friends and family from that component, which is again kind of why we do what we do as working for ourselves, is that we do have control of that.
But that all leads to, if that fills your bucket personally, that should bleed over into your professional existence, because guess what? I'm happy, I'm complete, and I'm getting this piece filled to where now I can go out and really do the things I need to do on the other side. So it's the balance everybody's looking for. Whenever you talk to candidates and clients, and I've talked to candidates and clients, and we talk about the word control, like the reality is that's what you want. Like, and when they say work-life balance, I agree with a lot of people, like you don't really get that, right? Like, what does that mean? It's different, whatever. But you can have a balance in your life that works for you, right? So if I'm filling the bucket or the end of this with my personal stuff because I need more time with my family, that makes me happy, that fills my heart, then I can go and the tough stuff I can do because I have this filled, right? Or if over here having the money and the security and the sense of security is great, then that gives me the ability to have more fruitful moments with the family and friends that I want to have. So it's the ecosystem of success is tied to all of the things. So those that think they can separate them, that's great. You can to an extent, but back to the whole word and motivation for 2026 and how that all pans together, it's really just meant to give you something that says, I think I can do this. This is how I'm going to hold myself accountable. And for me, it was one small, like I am a nugget person. This is the one nugget that I know that I can commit to that is not so broad and so large and so unobtainable. Like those things will come if I do this one thing. If I do this one tiny thing, the things that I want, big picture wise, will come by me doing this one tiny step.
And it will also happen immediately, overnight, right? Like, and then that goes back to again the consistency of it, right? So
like if we consistently hit the lottery, maybe we might actually win.
Maybe.
Just saying.
Hold on. Nope, lost again. My bad. What's maybe one thing from an franchise industry standpoint for 2026 that maybe you're looking forward to, or you kind of see from an industry perspective? Because there's all these things, all the noise, right? Like there's always the noise, whether it's the economy or it's, you know, like when this one's kind of died away for a little bit, but who knows when it's going to come back. There's the tariffs, there's the interest rate, there's this, there's that. Or we have, how many states do we have now, right? Like whatever is going on, then there's the little, like the little engine that is franchising. What's your thing that maybe you see for 26 with franchising?
I don't know that. I wish I had a crystal ball, right? Like I get asked this question a lot. I've been on other podcasts and we've talked about the same things, because it's always great to do a year wrap up and then what's 2026. And I think the consistent piece for franchising is we're always really optimistic at the first of the year. I think we all go in pretty aggressive, but knowledgeable to where the world's going to shake out. I don't know that I am status quo, I think, for 2026. And I've never been that way. It's more I've been really excited or really terrified. I've never just been kind of like in the middle of the road. And mind you, I've done this for 15 years. So I have seen the highs, I have seen the lows, I have heard the recession resistance and the, oh goodness, like during COVID, the essential business piece of like, I've heard it all, I've seen it all. And the piece about franchising is it does stay pretty status quo. It just sometimes goes a little bit up, but stays down, goes a little bit up and stays down. So I think for me, what I hope for 2026 is that like, that we all kind of just keep rolling, heads down, do the things that we know to do, be gracious in the positives, take the lessons that come in the negative. I'm pretty excited for some professional things for me and some stuff that I'm working on from a personal level that I think are going to forever change us. And I think that's good. So I want to be an equal contributor to the overall industry itself so that great people are introduced to an amazing industry that I am 1000% grateful for stumbling into because it is giving me a wonderful life whatsoever. So I just think I'm okay with 2026 just riding the consistent wave of consistency. Look, see the words playing out. All like
it'll be consistently consistent in its consistency. So
I'm telling you, the word just finds me every year. It's not that I go out searching for the word.
You are good for one word a year.
I'm good for one word a year.
The thing, somebody asked me this literally earlier today, like, and kind of from the fear perspective of, franchising is all the stuff or whatever. And I'm like, I literally said, well, yeah, listen to last week's podcast. It goes the contrarian thing. I'm like, top 10 reasons you shouldn't own one, right? But the thing that continues to strike me in franchising, especially from an owner perspective, is the positivity that goes around it, right? And I think because it's incredibly hard work working for yourself in whatever capacity. Incredibly, it'll be the hardest thing you've ever done. And anybody tells you
more
otherwise.
More mentally than physically, though. Let's put that out there. Definitely more mental than physical. Correct. Right.
But almost every one of us that have taken that step would be like, oh, hell no, I'm not going back to don't talk to me about PTO. I will lose my mind. But it's the positivity. And you and I went to a franchising event last year. It was the first time either of us, I think, had been there, which is called the Multi-Unit Franchise Conference. And we've been to the IFA several years. We've been to all these other things. And I don't want to say there's a cloud over those, but there was always a certain level of there's some Eeyores in there around. And we went to the multi-unit thing, which is Multi-Unit Franchise Conference. So guess what? They are multi-unit franchise owners. And some of them are built bigger businesses than franchisors have built, right? And the positive energy that just rolled through that place was like, it was overwhelming to me. And again, you're like, what's it take to be a good franchise owner? Probably that more than anything else is have the positive energy that like, it's going to work out. I'm going to figure it out. I want to figure it out. Something's going to go wrong, but I'm going to figure it out. It's all going to be okay. And again, we go back here to that here in a couple months. And I think that's the one thing I'm looking forward to more than anything was just like, it was a breath of like super successful, happy entrepreneurs. And I think that if there's one thing I hope that I can kind of celebrate on this podcast this year is a little bit more of that, how much that impacts the business, how much you need to bring that to the table. But that's where I think franchising just always keeps on ticking no matter what's going on, is the people that are really behind the success of the industry are the owners, and they bring a positive energy and like, hey, like smart enough to follow the plan, I'm going to work, but I also really am having fun figuring stuff out when something hits the wall. So We also have this fun TV show, the Franchising 360 show. So, and that is, in fact, tomorrow night we have, like, this was a kind of a cool one because one of the few people you and I, neither one of us met or had known before he showed up was Michael Browning Jr. From Unleashed Brands. And we've got him joining us tomorrow on the Franchising 360 show. So if you've not been watching that, every Friday, 8 Eastern, 5 Pacific on Biz TV. What the heck is wrong with you? So we've got that. What's your one last thing before we let you go and get back to whatever it was you might want to do the rest of your day? Being consistent
with whatever it is I'm supposed to be doing. Yeah. I don't know. I look forward to 2026 for all of your listeners. Subscribe to the channel for all the new drops. Make sure you check out our YouTube feed just because, there's always a competition brewing here. So the more subscribers we can get, maybe I win a prize. So if you liked this podcast, maybe tell Tim he should have a guest more often that isn't somebody else but me.
So co-host on the podcast too? Is that what we're going for? Or just host, you take it over?
Every now and again, because, I'm fun. I bring the life of the party with me everywhere I go.
You are not awful to communicate with. So,
thanks.
So
it is the best worst compliment ever. So here we go.
And on that note, the one, the only, this is like appearance 8, I think. So 2 more. When you get to 10, there is a special prize.
I get a jacket. Is it like SNL? Like
it's a ham.
Don't steal my shtick.
I stole your stick and your ham. So, and if, please do. And thank you for bringing up the one thing I always forget to tell people, like subscribe and follow and all of those fun things. But Danielle, always a pleasure having you on here. And clearly we need to have you on as a guest again really soon. So thanks for joining us.
No, you're very welcome.
Hey, thanks again for tuning into the Franchising 101 podcast brought to you by FranCoach. I hope these episodes continue to educate you on the amazing possibilities that can be achieved through franchise ownership. In between podcast episodes, if you still want to learn more about franchising and the ways in which FranCoach can help, there are a few places for you to check out. First, tune in to the Franchising 360 show. It is the only nationally syndicated television show about franchising hosted by me and Danielle Wright. Our TV show airs every Friday, 8 Eastern, 5 Pacific on Biz TV. Next, check out the FranCoach YouTube channel, which is FranCoach for You. You can find tons of franchise-specific content there. Plus, you can catch past episodes of the Franchising 360 show. If you like to read, we encourage you to check out our book, Becoming a Franchise Owner. You'll never guess what it's about. And finally, when you're ready to take that first personalized step and explore the franchise industry further, please reach out to our amazing team at FranCoach. You can click the QR code or find us at francoach.net. There is never any fee for our service, so let us help you create your better tomorrow.